Welcome to Ice Cream Monday, a podcast where we talk about one of the things we like best in the world, ice cream. Each Monday, we taste a flavor of ice cream and tell you what we like about it. My name is Delaney Pryor, and here with me is my husband, Noah Pryor. But Noah, what's going on?
Today, we are here to fully wrap up our frozen custard series by placing them all in a tier list. This is, of course, just our opinions and no one else's, but that's what this entire podcast is. But
To be fair, we do share a huge amount of time. We spend a huge amount of time sharing about other people's opinions too.
it's true, but this is exclusively ours on where we think each of these falls. So we'll start with the custard place we visited first, and go in order, chronological order, and we'll place them on this tier list. So for those of you that might not know how the tier list works, um, it's basically just a ranking system like 1 through 10, except in this case, it's um, like a grading scale, A, B, C, D, F. But then there's also S tier, which some people consider is like supreme, which is even better than A. Um, don't really know why it's like that, but it is what it is. Um, so Delaney, are you ready to get going with this?
I'm ready. And I think it would be good just to, since this is a bit of a recap podcast on our whole series, we had a great time everywhere that we went. It was really fun, like figuring out where to go for each week and what to order at those places. It definitely made us consider why do we have an ice cream podcast as opposed to a custard podcast?
Hmm.
Of course, like there are many reasons, and we are still Ice Cream Monday. It Custard Monday just doesn't have the same ring to it, but it also just is like not as common. It wouldn't be as easy to get all the time. So we're still an ice cream podcast, but we enjoyed some of this custard so much, it did make us wonder.
Yeah, truly, this was a fantastic experience, and I'm happy that we did it together.
Same.
Delaney, where do we begin? I believe it is Freddy's, correct?
Yeah.
So
Interesting case here.
it is. Tell me why.
Um, I think it is my in my top three overall, probably for me.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know that anymore though. I
Like
When we
top
went
three
there
sections or
first
top three of the six?
of the six, but now I'm not even sure if I believe that. Um, I just remember thinking that the vanilla base was very solid. It was like very good, really strong,
Hmm.
nice vanilla flavor. It was fresh. It was um like the peanut butter PBC and B or whatever it was with
Yes.
bananas and everything. Just a really good overall flavor combo. And so I do think it's like a very it's a strong start, you know?
Yes, I think it is a strong start. I think the flavor is hard to beat. Peanut butter and banana, it's just good, right?
And chocolate.
And chocolate, exactly. It's a very strong start. I really do like Freddy's a lot. I remember the main downside we talked about was just that there wasn't a very good ratio from toppings to custard. There was way more
Yeah.
custard than there were toppings.
Yeah.
Um, but the custard was delicious.
Yeah.
Um, in my opinion, some of the best, if not the best, tasting custard overall.
Yeah.
It just had a really nice vanilla flavor. So yeah, I'd I don't believe, from my point of view, that it belongs anywhere lower than B.
I agree.
Um, so would you want, but I could also see it going in A,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's an S for me.
No, I don't believe it's an S. It's just not totally the whole package. How about we leave it in B for now?
Okay,
Because I'm curious as we go on to see what else ends up going in A or S.
sure.
And I definitely have ones that I know I prefer above Freddy's, so I want to be careful. Like, let's leave it in B for now and see if
Okay.
we have to come back to it.
Okay, sounds good. And I will say, the way that we're judging this, is, just for our listeners' sake, um, is not just based off of one thing, like the custard or the particular flavor or or the toppings or whatever. It's about the entire experience. So it
Right.
has to do with, um, all of those things I just mentioned and the environment and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I think B is a good place to leave that. If we need to raise it or lower it later on, we will.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next is Andy's.
Another strong starter. Like, I
Yes.
remember we went there for, the second episode and I was like, this series is gonna be good, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I just remember the way that they layered it in the cup was so good because unlike Freddy's, everything was like in each bite. And I remember how fresh and crunchy and light the nuts were,
Hmm.
and how like good the hot fudge and the caramel sauce were. It was really a great cup of ice cream. I mean,
Yeah.
custard
Th
for sure.
This is what introduced us to the concept of really what makes, um custard stand apart from ice cream, or like at least, I guess not necessarily that, but going to the actual store instead of just getting it in a pint, right? Because this is the
Hmm.
first where we had that hot fudge and cold ice cream mixing together,
And
and that,
fresh nuts.
yes, exactly. And the fresh nut,
Yeah.
the pecans were really the hero of the story as well. Um,
Such a surprise, but totally welcomed.
Yeah, truly. I'd say the experience of the, like, going through the drive-through and feeling rushed because the poor guy is standing out in the cold instead of, just waiting for us at the window. Um,
Hey, that
it,
was his choice.
yeah, that maybe lessened the experience, but it was also kind of fun to remember. So I don't
Yeah.
know. To me, this is at least an A.
I 100% agree.
That it immediately jumps ahead of Freddy's for me,
Yeah.
for all those reasons, because, the whole thing, I believe that all of Freddy's flavors could be, can be like bought and like taken home with you,
Hmm.
um, which is great, that you're able to do that. I'm sure it's delicious, but it doesn't really warrant going out to the shop that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
So,
think all these places you can do that.
sure. What I mean is that you can't take hot fudge home with you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can take the custard home, but these flavors, right? You can't take that experience away,
That's true.
like,
Yeah.
from like standing. Like, you basically, we had to sit in our car and eat it, because we
Yeah.
couldn't take it home. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like, and then eat it. So, and I think that that is honestly, a um, huge advantage, that some of these places have over others, in my opinion,
Hmm.
in terms of that capability,
Hmm.
in terms of how I'm judging it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Does that
it's
make sense to
definitely
you?
an A for me. When it all comes down to it, who knows? It might jump up to S. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Next we have Karen's custard, I believe. And
Is it though?
it isn't custard. And here's the thing, is because Delaney and I kind of went back and forth at one point where it's like, do we even include it on the tier list? Because it shouldn't belong. It doesn't belong amongst these other actual real custard with a C. Um, so, but ultimately, what we decided is that it does belong on the tier list.
Just
But
in a very specific place.
there is only one place for it, and that is F tier. Um, but here's the thing. We have nothing bad to say about, like, Karin, okay? Or her whole thing, okay? Honestly, the ice cream was fine. It was good, even. you know, but it was not custard.
Correct.
And she's lying to her customers. And that's
We
something
can't
that we can't
reward
stand
that with
for.
anything
We can't
over an
reward
F.
that. I'm so happy for Smyrna, Tennessee, that they have this place where they can, a like hometown business. I hope that they get business and I hope that they keep going. But on a custard tier list, there is only one spot for them.
Correct.
Do you have
Yep.
anything else to say about Karen's custard, Delaney?
Um, I really hope for their sake that people stop running cars into their buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. I also hope that. Um, all the best, Karen's custard, but that's an F. A failing grade. Um, all right. What comes next is wits.
Hmm. This was a great experience, in my opinion.
This was a great experience. So this, in my opinion, took the whole like what I was talking about with the Andes thing, where you've got that hot and cold experience that you couldn't have anywhere else, and took it to the next level.
Yeah.
With this flavor, you have the apple cake in there. It's not only warm, the texture, it would be impossible, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to recreate that somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
It had to be
And
eaten
like
immediately.
let's be clear. Of course you can bake a cake in your house, but we're talking
Yes.
about like buying a pre-made ice cream-ish
Yes.
product and
Hmm.
taking it home. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
only
mix
way
it
you're gonna get the fresh cake is like if it's actually fresh.
right. And the caramel and all of it, it was just a perfect. It's honest. I think it's by far my best flavor of all of the stuff that we tried.
I think it was the most unique too.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to the custard itself, I think it was fine. It wasn't really amazing. Like, it didn't really stand out,
Yeah.
as a flavor. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I agree. It was like, okay, here's some more vanilla. It was definitely basic. Nothing texture-wise comparing to Culver's, which we talked about last week.
Right.
But really nothing, none of these compare to the texture of Culver's.
Right.
So it's like,
It's nothing
does
obtrusive, but it's yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely at least an A, but I feel like it's a contender for S as well, just because the whole concept was so good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really I feel comfortable with A for now. And we can come back to it at another time. Anything
Yeah.
else to say about Wits?
I want to go back. I want to try more of their special flavors because this was not the only one that looked good. Like
No.
they
And
had
they
some really good ideas there.
and they have a new flavor every single day
That's
that
pretty
are like
cool.
custom flavors that you can only get like
That
on
day.
those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty fun idea.
Yeah,
I definitely want to go back there.
for sure.
All right. That takes us to Super Chix, chicken and custard. So just want to throw that out again. Their chicken was really good.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about custard.
No. This one
Um,
is really hard
it is really hard.
because it's difficult to know exactly what the custard is like because it was full of the toppings, which generally is a good thing, but the toppings included M&Ms, which we learned
Yeah.
is not maybe ideal.
No.
Because they definitely freeze really hard and then they like hurt to eat them.
Yeah.
So here's my thing as well. It's like, do they not know that? Because this was not a flavor of the day. This was like a staple flavor.
Right.
And it's like, are you all just in denial that there are a lot of people out there who really hate M&Ms and M's and ice cream?
Well, that's the thing is that McDonald's does it too, right?
I know, yeah. It's weird. It's kind of like I don't know. I feel like it's just controversial enough that it's interesting that it was just one of like the three specialty options that they always have. Like, really, that one made the top three, you know?
Yeah.
And again, I'm sounding like very down on it right now. We've definitely had a good time eating it, but it was a bit difficult with these super hard M&M pieces. I feel like I don't know whose idea that was. And I kind of feel like it needs to put them in more like a C tier.
Yeah, I think one bonus that I would have is that I do think that the custard was tasty. Okay.
Yeah.
I also don't think it was like really amazing custard. You know what I mean? It didn't
Hmm.
like strike me as like, wow, that flavor is so good, but it was good. Um,
Yeah.
um, they also gave you a ton of custard, right?
Yeah.
So these are like advantages, right?
Hmm.
But I think that honestly, without the whole experience, like the whole vibe of the restaurant and how much they gave you and the pretzels, if there weren't any pretzels in it,
Hmm.
um, I think I would have reviewed this badly.
Mm.
So I think that a C sounds really fair.
Yeah, I would really
Um,
like to go back and try a different flavor combo and
yes.
see what that would do. I would love to try. I wonder what their chocolate tastes like. I wonder what they had a mint one that I would love
Hmm.
to, give that a go. And who knows, maybe sometime we'll do it and then we'll update people on a random episode like, hey, here's the Super Chicks update.
Yeah.
Because I really do want to give it another chance because it could be all down to the M&Ms, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I really would like to give them a shot.
Yeah. It was really just a texture thing, not a taste thing.
Yeah.
And I but it was bad enough to where it's just like can't do it.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
Yeah.
Um, here we are. Culver's. Delaney, what do you think?
Well, here's the thing. For me, it's an S.
Okay.
It's just like full stop. But I
Put
know
it up
that
there
it
for now.
was very different for you because you weren't a fan of the chocolate syrup, and that was a big part of it.
Hmm.
But I, and I don't know if it's fair to just be like, well, what would we judge it if the chocolate syrup wasn't on there? Because we're not doing that with the other ones, you know? Like we literally just put Super Chicks in C because it had M&Ms. So it's like I don't know what to do. The custard to me, like the base is an S because of that amazing texture, you know?
Hmm.
Um, but does it get bumped down to A because of the chocolate syrup? I don't know, because that's
He,
definitely like up to your preference, you know?
but here's the thing, Delaney. The texture is completely undeniable.
Yeah.
It's perfect
Yeah.
in, I believe, every way. And from a texture perspective, it is thicker than all of the custard. Like all of the other different custards that we tried, it is like a completely different, new, amazing texture, right?
Yeah.
Um, taste wise, it Freddy's might have them beat, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but that
Yes.
is more of a preference thing, you know? Like, I mean, all of this is a preference thing, right? But like, I prefer more of the vanilla taste over the sweet cream taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that being said, when it comes to custard, the two most important things are texture and temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, yeah, it's frozen custard. It's going to be cold, right? But that's not really what I'm talking about. It's the experience of eating something hot and cold at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And I believe because Culver's is so far up in front of everyone else in terms of texture, I think they have to go an S.
Yeah.
Okay. But I believe in order to make it fair, because of the flavor, because of the temperature thing, we need to move someone else up to S as well.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Hmm.
Definitely, obviously it would be one of the A's that we currently have.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with which one because
I
they're so different.
but this is my pitch. This is my gut feeling, okay? I would like to see Andy's up there
Okay. Tell me.
because despite me liking the Wits flavor the absolute best, I believe that Andy's custard is better.
Mm-hmm.
And those those pecans
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. And if the and if a place can make me like pecans that much and like crave pecans, there must be something about it that is special.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really do think that Andy's now it's hard to remember because it was weeks ago now,
Hmm.
but I do remember their texture also being pretty good. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to say like when I didn't just have it like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that. I do believe Andy's belongs up there. Um, and I think A is completely good place for wits. I really do think now that we've put them all in there, I think they're in the right spots.
Yeah. I think they are.
I think what people can learn from this is you know where to go, folks.
Yeah.
Like and here's the thing. For most of these places, or at least the top four, the concept is almost the same. With slight variations based on who serves like things that are not ice cream or I mean custard as well. Like some of them have food and all that. But when it comes to the custard, it's basically the same. You choose your vanilla base or your chocolate base, and you choose the toppings to go on it. And you choose whether you want it in a sundae form or all blended up. And so I really do think that with this list, you can make your decision based on knowing that we've given you some great recommendations for the special flavors these places have advertised, like Wits with this amazing spice cake and caramel thing. Or you could also go to Wits and just build your own thing. You could get the turtle sundae at Andy's, or if you don't like hot fudge, but you really want to try those amazing pecans, you can get something else and be like, can you put the pecans on it? You know what I mean? Like the
And they have
great thing
so
about all
many
these
options.
so many options. And so the great thing is if you really want to try those pecans, go to Andy's. If you really want the best texture in the world, go to Culver's and add whatever is your favorite stuff onto the custard. Like you will have great choices at any of these places. I really do think personally, if somebody wants the classic custard experience, I would say go to Culver's first, just to like form your baseline of like what is custard? What is good custard?
Hmm.
And then if you want to kind of go wild because Andy's has like a ton of really cool, you know, even just the way that they do some of their mixes, go there. I just think that I hope people take from this series and the tier list that I don't believe you're going to strike out at any of those top places.
No, I don't believe
And
you are. If you like custard, any of these places have our seal of approval. And
yes,
even if you don't like custard, you'll probably have fun because there's good vibes all around.
yeah. Even Super Chicks down there in Tier C has our approval. Like, go get some chicken sandwiches and get some custard. We're just saying, don't get the M&M pretzel one,
Unless that's your thing, because
unless
maybe
it is,
maybe it's a lot of people's thing and we just don't know.
and it probably is. But we
My
would say,
brother, my brother last night said M&Ms are better frozen.
what?
Yeah, and I bet you know which one it was too. But I'm not gonna call him out right now.
Yeah, I know which one it was.
I didn't call him out because I didn't feel like having that conversation, but I was
I
I was
want to know how
shocked.
that came up, like in
I
conversation.
honestly can't remember.
Oh man. But anyway, I think that's all that's on my mind for this tier list. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's it for this week's episode. So, make sure also if you've gotten this far and or just listening to the podcast, there is a video version of this podcast out on YouTube that you can watch at Ice Cream Monday or Ice Cream Pod. You can type that into the search bar and you'll find it pretty
And we can
easily.
like put a link to it in the podcast description too, right?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you can support this podcast at patreon.com/Pryor Creates. That's PRYOR Creates. And you can follow us on Instagram at Ice Cream Pod for pictures of all the ice cream that we eat on this here podcast and frozen custard. Next week, we're coming at you with just a normal episode. I don't think we know what we're going to be eating quite yet, but we're going back to our original format. We're gonna find a flavor to talk about, and we're gonna talk about it.
Can't wait.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. Keep screaming, everybody.
Bye.